All right, good evening, everyone. Welcome to Green White Checker TV. So we're going to take a quick lap around New Hampshire Motor Speedway. Unfortunately, rolling solo tonight. Steve partied maybe a little too hard after last year's quarantine. Had to get a little bit of excitement out for the 4th of July. And so he needs a little bit of extra time to rest and recuperate. All joking aside, no, so Steve had to take care of a couple things. So unfortunately won't be making it this evening. But definitely look forward to having Steve back in the booth with me. So we're going to take a slow lap here around New Hampshire Motor Speedway, or Loudon, as others are familiar with it. As I say, you're going to come here through 3 and 4 to take that opening lap. You can see all the dotted lines here. You have a lot of options on where you want to run this car around the track, but it's all going to come to a very tight exit off of 4, I should say. And then you're going to be sending it into turn number 1, full tilt here. And then you're going to have to get it woed back down to get into turn number 1. And so I've seen a lot of drivers, you have a lot of places you can run. I've seen right now, I think the more popular route, if you're going to run low, is going to be right here at that first seam. You don't want to run lower than that. There's a little bit of a progressive banking there. And as you come down the back stretch, you're going to do the same thing as you go down the back. You're going to work your way down. And again, we'll try this time, we'll run a different line a little higher here. Again, slight progressive banking, so that little bit of difference could help you carry more speed off the exit. And might be able to let you get either a good run on the car in front of you or make a pass on the exit. So there's going to be a lot of movements we might see these drivers make this evening. And the other option, of course, is the inner high and then really try to arc it down low, get a really strong exit off of the turn. So we're going to see a lot of options for that as well here. So it's going to be very exciting to see what these drivers do tonight, what's going to be the winning move. But I think some of the winning moves are going to be made on the track, not on the racetrack also, but here in pit road, making the right pit strategy, getting into pit road, get that pit limiter on, make sure you don't speed. But then you're going to see at the very bottom, we have a lot of adjustments in this car. You can see we've got the front ARB, we've got the weight jacker. You see I can move the front ARB on the bottom left up and down. We can do the rear ARB up and down. That's going to be important as well. And then of course, I think even more critical, you got the weight jacker. But I think the big one tonight is going to be this fuel position right here. You can put it down to fuel map 5, keep that thing really nice and soft on the fuel. So it's going to be very exciting to see what's going to be the right strategy for these drivers to make this evening here at New Hampshire Motor Speedway. So before we kick everything off, though, let's go ahead and take a look at our point standings coming into tonight. Nick DeGroot leading the way there with the first and second place finishes by thousandths of a second on the 2 of them, and also a top 10. So top 10 all 3 of his starts. He's got a 20-point lead over Matt Wagner. Jeff Heisong holding solidly in the 3rd spot. Henry Bennett, fresh off his win last week, he jumps to 4th. Alec Codes rounds out our top 5. And then 6th through 10th, you've got Craig Forsyth, Jim Brooks, Jack Walls, Chris Jabot, and Don Runkle Jr. And so we'll pull up our our race info for this evening. So as I mentioned tonight, 125 laps is the race distance this evening here at Loudon, New Hampshire. So 125 laps. So you can see track weather 72 degrees ambient, track temperature 114 degrees, is going to be warm. So that could make these cars a little bit of a handful to around this track tonight. So going to be very interesting to see what how that's going to be working for these drivers tonight. All right, I believe qualifying has just completed. All right, let's pull up our starting grid for tonight's event. And pole position is going to go to the number 10 of Anders Aarhus. Second place is last week's winner, Henry Bennett. You got Jeff Heisong in 3rd, Andrew Wood in 4th, Craig Forsyth 5th, Bud Steele 6th, Nick DeGroot 7th, James Ledford 8th, Charles T. Jim Brooks going to round out our top 10. 11th and 12th, you've got Benjamin Combs and Alec Coates. Then 13th through 24th, you've got Matt Wagner, Jimmy Dryden, Yari Brupacher, Todd Merkel, Gary Corley, Kevin DeBrown, Joseph Morales, Chris Jabot, Kurt Rose, Kyle Ramsey actually are in race admin for this evening, so he will not be out on track. You got Don Runkle Jr. in 23rd, David Payton in 24th, And then Joseph DeCiro going to round out that 25th position here tonight. So we're going to have 24 drivers taking the grid tonight. And it's going to be a lot of fun to see what these drivers have in store for us this evening. You can see the field just about all lined up here, ready to roll. You see on the front row right there, you've got Anders Aarhus in that 10 car, Henry Bennett in that 007. I actually believe this was the same front row as last week at Mossport, so we'll see how these drivers fare tonight as well. And I think this is one of those tracks, some of that road course abilities will come into play here tonight as well. So criticals, I think tonight starting position is going to be extremely crucial. I believe this is going to be a very difficult one to pass at, so there's going to be a lot of close racing. This is going to be one of those tracks where you got to really keep your head underneath you. So it's going to be very easy to get a little bit worked up and get frustrated at occasions. So we'll have to keep an eye and see if that comes into play or not. Hopefully it doesn't. But this is going to be definitely a very challenging track for a lot of drivers here this evening. So right now I show 21 drivers taking part in the grid here. We have a couple that haven't gridded either, maybe opting to start from the pits, or possibly just maybe had some connection issues, hardware issues that haven't been able to take the grid, including the 24 of Chris Jabot, the 38 of David Payton, and the 110 of Joseph DeCiro. So we'll keep an eye for them as well, see if they come back in here. But that being said, though, pace car is about to drop in. That's going to hand it over to that number 10 car of Anders Aarhus. Wait for that green flag to fly, and we are underway here at New Hampshire. 125 laps is the race distance this evening. See Anders there, gets a good jump here to kick things off. However, Henry Bennett, he's going to try to work the top side like we had mentioned in the pre-race here. And you can see he is definitely making that top roll right now. So at the line, I believe Anders just going to hang on to the lead. Maybe got that lap led. However, Henry Bennett's going to try to work that top side here, see if he can get the lead here out of turn number 2. And right now, the inside line actually rolling pretty well there. Anders Aarhus, he's going to hold on to lead, but here comes a crossover. Henry Bennett thinks about it, opts not to take that opportunity as of yet. You can see, though, these drivers definitely going to be working different grooves here because that dirty air is going to be very difficult to work through tonight at this track. Right now, definitely busy throughout the pack here. Trying to keep an eye and see what's all going on where. There's been a lot of movement here towards about the top 10, top 12 or so. Right now, a few of the bigger movers at the early point of this race. Jim Brooks in the 51, he's jumped 3 spots into that 7th position. You see he's right now having a good battle here with that 27 of Craig Forsyth. A little further back, the 99 Jimmy Dryden, he's also gained 3 positions up to the 11th position, and then same goes for that 93 of Kevin DeBrown. You see him working to the inside here of Jari Brupacher. He's going to try to get himself up to the 4 positions gained on these opening laps. So a lot of movement here early on. And again, this is definitely going to be a tricky one for these drivers to make these moves and get some passes done right now. Everybody doing a really good job here early on, kind of just minding everybody else's cars and just kind of giving room where they can and as much as they can as well. I'm going to jump over here to Charles Teed. He's putting the pressure on Jim Brooks in that 51 car as they head into 1 and 2. You can see Charles really running the inside line, has to battle up just a little bit, has to roll out of it to make sure he doesn't slide up into the 51 car out of 2. He's going to try to continue that fight here into 3. And you can see just the momentum that 51 is able to carry. That little bit higher groove definitely has a lot more pace on the top side on the exit. And that's what we talked about during those couple laps around the track there. And so I think this is going to be what you're going to see here. There is definitely some drivability here with these cars. Is that you're just going to have to really work hard, I think, to make these passes happen. I'm saying right now, Jim Brooks still holding off that number 5 of Charles Teed here. We got another battle here. Looks like Andrew Wood is going to grab that spot from Jeff Heisong there. So move Andrew Wood now up into the 3rd position. So you see he's going to work his way around, move himself up a spot. So you can see he's got some fun little graphics here. Say I've raced with Andrew before, and he kind of uses his name as part of his paint scheme. So you can see the nice wood finish on the back and on the sides of that 64 car. So it's always fun to see drivers have some sense of humor and find something that differentiates their cars with others around them. So I say Andrew Wood with that nice wood grain on that 64 machine. So we'll keep moving around. Looks like Kevin's still fighting the Ari Brupacher. He has not been able to get that pass completed here. So it's right now 14th and 15th between the two of them. And like I said, and that's the things you can get. They're just completing these passes very, very difficult right now. And that's what these guys are experiencing. And it's going to be so tempting to really overshoot the turn. Oh, you see James Ledford had a little bit of a moment there off two, was able to gather it back up there. But so that's going to be the thing for some of these guys, to try to be careful not to overdrive these cars. I do need to mention, though, you see Charles Teed, he's been able to get around Jim Brooks, and he's now setting sail. He's already put over a second on them. Craig Forsyth, he's been able to get by as well, so now that's going to put Jim under attack from Alec Coates there in the number 3 car. Alec right now in the top 10 as well, +2 for him. So got a lot of movers here early on, and now actually a little bit of a quick update. Looks like Kevin has just maybe cleared yard. Nope, not quite enough at the line. He did, but not enough to actually complete the pass still. So right now, it's going to meet our highest climber right now is actually that 00 Don Merkel Jr. He's up into the 18th position. So he started towards the back, opting not to qualify. He's just kind of slowly but methodically working his way forward in that 00. Team Anders is watching, so we got to jump up front and take a look at our race leader in that 10 car of Anders Arhus right now. Got about a second lead over that 007 of Henry Bennett. So right now it's got a pretty good kind of clean and green run look to it at the moment. Never want to say something too soon and wind up jinxing things, but right now Anders definitely in a good spot. So this is where now drivers might up front settle in a little bit, maybe look at fuel numbers. Because again, 125 laps is the race distance. I was told on the fuel window would be roughly 40 laps or so. So if these drivers, if they can save a lap or two under green flag racing, this could get them in a two pit stop window, I should say. So that's going to be something that's really going to be interesting to see. But we got a little battle here stacking up behind that number 18 of Jeff Heisong here. We'll take a look from the wing cam of that car. You see right behind him, he's got that 6 of Bud Steele. And like I mentioned, here comes that 5 of Charles Teed. He is definitely making some big moves early. As you can see, Bud's going to try to peek to the inside of Jeff. Can't quite do it off of 2. Now he's going to take a look here, entering 3 as they head into the turn. This time you actually see Charles all the way, Bud all the way to the bottom there. That's going to really slow that car's momentum down. You can see here goes Charles Teed. Going to take advantage of that, try to keep the momentum working on the top side here. So we'll see if Charles is able to kind of keep Bud here pinned to the inside line. This might be able to give Charles, might be able to get him a spot around that number 6 machine. Not quite yet though, Bud holding strong. A little bobble from him entering turn number 3. You see him wash up a little bit here. Jeff giving plenty of room to make sure that Bud is able to catch that car. So these guys fighting hard here right inside the top 5. It looks like Charles is going to be able to clear Bud there out of 4, so move Charles up into the 5th position, and now he's going to be able to try to work over Jeff Heisong. And you see also Nick DeGroot trying to make a move there on the 6 as well. So it looks like momentum is going to play a big role in this one, but it looks like you see Charles gets a good run here off of 2. He's going to send it here into turn number 3. And I think he's going to see he's going to roll that second move. We saw Bud get all the way down to the inside, but look at Charles there. He's able to roll that bottom and make that pass happen nice and quick. So he's going to move up now into 4th spot. He's now going to be one of our higher climbers, up 5 positions in that number 5 machine, actually. So he's up into that 4th position. As you see Henry Bennett, he's starting to have a little bit of pressure put on him by that number 64 of Andrew Wood. And so we'll jump around a little bit more here. One another driver making some big moves forward is that number 11 of Matt Wagner, +4 for him, chasing down that 27 of Craig Forsyth. And do need to mention that 93 Kevin Brown was able to get around Yari, and he's really starting to set sail now. So he's up +7 now, up into the 11th position. However, again, he's not the only +7 driver here. That 00 again, Todd Merkel Jr. You see him just enter the picture there a little bit further back there. He's now up 7 positions, so well up to 16th position. So, as I say, that contact between this 00 and the number 2 car, caution is going to fly. That's Todd Merkel Jr. here and Todd Merkel to go back and see what exactly happened between the two of them. But unfortunately, they were both, I say Don was definitely having a really good run right there before that happened. Let's go see what exactly happened to this 00 here. So we're watching them as they come into turn number 3 here. No, Todd just gets in a lot deeper than Don. Not sure if either Don maybe checked up a little earlier or if Todd just got in way too hot. But either way, though, unfortunately, so you see both of them, Don taking a pretty good hit, but then Todd going definitely for a pretty big ride there. And unfortunately, I think both drivers having to take tows from that as well. Obviously, nothing that the two can do. And it looks like 00, same thing, just holds the brakes, takes the tow. So we're going to jump back live, though, because we got pit stops going underway for our leaders here, led by that number 10 of Anders Aarhus. Say right now, it doesn't look like too many drivers opting to stay out for track position. So we'll keep an eye and see if that comes into play here as well. Looks like the top 3 are going to hold serve with one another during the pit stop cycle. We did have one driver opt to stay out here. It's going to be that 61 of Kurt Rose. We'll see if Kurt's going to stay out here, if he's going to maybe jump in a little bit. Maybe he'll jump back into the pits or not. We'll have to see if he comes in the second time around. But right now, that number 61 car, he is going to be shown as our race leader at the moment. Yeah, it looks like Kurt's going to opt to do some track position strategy here. So like I said, at this point with the yellow, this actually probably puts him in a window where he can make it to the end on the 2-stop strategy still. He'd have to pit earlier than the rest of the guys, but he started towards the back. He's actually plus 20 now from his starting position. So this is a strategy that could work out well for him, opting to go ahead and pit, or stay out, I should say, and then just maybe have to pit early, maybe catch a timely caution to catch a lot of track position. So say we'll have to see kind of how the strategy pans out for the 61 of Kurt Rose. So while we have a moment, we'll step away for just a bit while we're under caution, and we'll get things back going once we before we go back to green. Alright, we are back. Lights are off on the pace car, and you saw actually Kurt Rose did hop into the pits there, so that's going to give the lead back to Anders Aarhus. So pretty much the whole field here is going to be right on the same strategy again. So let's say it's going to be Anders Aarhus leading the way. Henry Bennett, Andrew Wood, Charles T, Jeff Heisong are top 5. And this is where, again, let's say this time there is not going to be go on green here. Anders Aarhus, he has control of this restart. So once that pace car is in, you see him drop in there. Now it's up to the 10 car to go whenever he wants, and he is already down and away. You see it's a nice little buffer over that 007 of Henry Bennett as they hit turn number 1. we got a big battle going on right back here. You can see from Charles Teed, Jeff Heisong, Bud Steele, Nick DeGroot, these guys really going after here. I think these drivers feel like fresh tires is where you're going to really need to make things happen. So we see a lot of aggression coming out of these cars right now, out of these drivers, I should say, right now. It looks like it's starting to settle in just a little bit now. As I say that, you see Bud Steele try to make a big move under Nick DeGroot there in 3, had to roll out of it a little bit, and you see Charles Teed under a lot of pressure from that 18 of Jeff Heisong. It kind of looks like Charles Teed might be really good on the longer run, where right now it looks like Jeff Heisong might have the short run pace in that 18 car. So I'll have to kind of keep an eye and see how that progresses as this run goes on. As I said, I think we had an issue with Bud Steele. Going to try to find him. Oh, he's stuck up against the wall. You can see suspension damage to that car. Let's go see what happened to Bud here. Right now, at the moment, we stay green. Let's go look and see exactly what happened to this 6 car. You see he's running down low here. Everything looks good. I think I jumped a little bit too soon. Apologies for that. So we'll kind of continue on through the lap here. As I believe it's off of turn number 2. Or yeah, turn off two where it happens here. So he's going to complete this turn, and then it'll be through here that we'll see this issue for that 6 of Bud Steele as he heads into turn number 1 and 2. Right behind the 89, probably got some dirty air behind Nick DeGroot. And oh yeah, big hit to the outside wall. Somehow it looks like Craig Forsyth just missed him. And so I say we stay green with that. And actually, as we were watching that, it looks like we had another incident with the 93 of Kevin DeBrown. Unfortunately, it looks like he just hit pit road from that incident as well. So let's go take a look what happened to Kevin here. Unfortunately, his track's starting to bite people pretty early. Oh, Kevin gets loose and it catches the outside wall. Just a little bit too loose on entry, and unfortunately had to jump to the pits, take a tow. Or actually, no, I think he may have been wow, look at that. He's going to limp this car to the pits, crab walking this thing through. So unfortunately, just bad luck for Kevin there. You can see that car just completely turned sideways here. So we'll jump back live now as we've seen those 2 incidents there. Up front, still holding on is Anders Arhus with the lead. Let's say those 2 incidents, let's say we stay green. It's kind of single car incidents. They were able to keep the cars pointed in the right direction here. As you see there goes Kevin just now exiting pit road. So I'm trying to see, let's go and try to see if we can check to see how many laps down he is now with that. Looks like at the moment he's going to be 2 laps down along with that 6 of Bud Steele. We saw his incident as well. So, but however, we saw Kurt Rose, he pitted kind of late in that caution. He right now is actually only 1 lap down in this number 61 machine. So this is going to put those guys in a kind of a tough spot to be able to get the lucky dog or wave around potentials. But right now you see Bud Steele is the furthest up of those 2. There's Kevin here. And that car doesn't look like it's still 100%. That or he's just trying to stay out of the way here. I'm not sure if maybe a little bit of remnants of that damage or just trying to give some space here early. Because I know there's times where unfortunately that faster pair doesn't quite do what it's supposed to. But I think he was just trying to give room and let those leaders go. And he just kind of try to settle in here and let this race kind of unfold and see how things shake out. That being said, though, right now that 10 car doing a really good job here, trying to stretch this lead out over Henry Bennett. It's about a second between the 2 of them. Let's jump back. We have a good battle, looks like, between Jim Brook, Alec Coates. They kind of looks like they passed one another for position. That Alec was able to hold on to that spot for the time being. This is 8th and 9th on track here. Let's say another battle a little further up is with Jeff Heisong. You can see he's got Matt Wagner now behind him in that 11 car. I'll say Matt's gained 7 spots from his starting position, and so I say Matt definitely trying to make moves forward here. Craig Forsyth, let's suspect we'll see Craig also make some moves here as well. But you see there, I think that 93 definitely has a lot of pace here, and he's just having to kind of roll out of it to not get into anybody's way at the moment here. So yeah, these guys having pretty good battles here. But Henry Bennett, though, he's starting to get under attack again. We mentioned a little earlier. That number 64, Charles Wood, he definitely looks to have some really good long run pace in this 64 car. And just to add to that Wood theme, look at that nice wood finish on the helmet too of Andrew Wood. So he's got a little bit of everything on that car as right now he runs in that 3rd position. keep moving around here a little bit. Say James Ledford, he's in a nice little battle here with Gary Corley. This is 14th and 15th for these two drivers. So I believe, yeah, 14th, 15th, and then a little bit further back is the 60 of Joseph Morales. Right now, Joseph, the last car on the lead lap as they run at the moment. However, like I mentioned, that the pace right now of Anders Aarhus, he's not too far away from catching that 60 and trying to put him a lap down. And that's going to be, I think, the first real difficulty here for that number 10 cars. He's been in clean air this whole race, so he's going to have to try to navigate his way around that 60 car. And so he's going to also have to work around this 30 air just a little bit as well here. So we'll hop on board. We'll keep an eye on as we watch this go on this battle here right now. As right now we're on lap 43 of 125 here. Like I mentioned on the pit window, about 40 laps or so on fuel, so they can go probably another 20 or so laps as they pitted around lap 22. As you saw there, I think Joseph definitely gave plenty of room for Anders to go ahead and make that move, who's now stretched his lead out to about 1.5, 1.6 seconds. You see right there that third car in line, Bud Steele, same thing. It shows, I mean, I'll say just unfortunate mistakes, but they've both had really good pace. The 6 and the 93, just unfortunate mistakes that kind of put him in a bad spot right here. As you can see, Andrew Wood definitely trying to stop, keep putting some pressure on that number 007 of Henry Bennett. Just right now just hasn't found a way to get that move around him. But you see there, gets a great run out of 4. This is going to put him in probably the best position he's been in thus far. He's going to send it here into turn number 1. But look at Henry just able to carry so much speed through the center. But as I said, I maybe got a little too aggressive on the center. Lost a little bit of momentum on the backstretch on the exit. That's allowed the 64 to get right next to him here as they go door to door through 3 and 4. And now maybe Andrew, yeah, you see Andrew actually able to use that 60 car as a bit of a pick there. So now move Andrew Wood into that second position. Is Henry Bennett's going to be able to complete that pass as well. So say that's going to now switch second and third position here. And say another one starting to creep up into this picture again is that number 11 of Matt Wagner in that 6th spot. So he's gained 7 positions like I mentioned just a little earlier. And then that battle a little further back, we mentioned Jim Brooks and company. He was able to get around Alec Coates. Jimmy Dryden has as well, so move Jim now up into 8th. Jimmy Dryden up into 9th. Say these guys working their way up into that top 10 positions here early on. You can see right now just the gap as Anders has really been able to stretch it out here now, about 2.5 seconds over Andrew Wood. So we'll say now that Andrew's in kind of, he's got his clean air as well as the 10 of Anders Aarhus. We'll look at lap times. Last time by it was still about a tenth of a second quicker for Anders, of 23.68 to 23.80 for Andrew. So I want to see if the lap times, if they differ or not, as these guys kind of keep getting into that clean air. And this last time by, yeah, they're basically Andrew's 0.02 of a second quicker. So these guys running very, very equal times. However, for Anders here, he's going to run into traffic again here in just a few more laps. You can see this time he's going to have 4 cars all in front of him here. I think that's going to start off with, I believe, the 61 of Kurt Rose. And then in front of him, you see you've got the 2 of Todd Merkel, the 7 of Gary Corley, and the 48 of James Ledford. So this is going to be some tough sledding here a little bit for Anders, because he's going to have to hope these guys kind of single out so he can try to pick them off one by one. Because like I said, if he catches these guys side by side, it's going to be a very tough job for him to pass. And of course, this is where these guys also in front, they're going to ramp it up a little bit, make it probably a little more aggressive here, trying to stay either on the lead lap or maybe just that 1 lap down. So I said, well, once again, we'll hop on board and we'll listen in with that 10 car. Alright, so we're going to keep jumping around a little bit. Do need to mention and say another change for position. Charles Teed, he got around the 007 and Henry Bennett. So now move Charles up into that 3rd position in that 5 machine. So Charles slowly but surely working his way forward. Matt Wagner and Jeff Heisong, they've been having a really good fight here for 5th. I say same thing a little earlier. Say Matt was able to get underneath that number 18 car, but then couldn't complete the pass. And you see that 93 again of Kevin DeBrown. Just right now, he's just holding on to the back of these guys. They said he's got the pace. Unfortunately, just made that little bit of a mistake, and unfortunately, that's really hurt him here. And then just behind them, you see Jim Brooks, Craig Forsyth. They're having a really good battle as well for the 7th position. Right now, Craig's got it. Jim's trying to find a way to get around Craig. But you see he's going to have to work, kind of be patient here, work with some lap traffic before he can really make that move. You see Craig's going to work inside here. He's going to try to get that past them. Jim will have to try to follow him through, and looks like he will. And then not too far behind, though, you got Jimmy Dryden's right there. Alec Coates not too far behind. And then we mentioned, I say Yari Brupacher, say he was in that fight with Kevin for a lot of laps there early on. He's been able to kind of get himself regrouped here, and he's now up into the 11th spot. In 12th is the number 77 of Benjamin Combs. Say Benjamin right now just off one spot from where he started at. And then say surprisingly, so I'm not sure if anything's going on or not, but Nick DeGroot right now 13th, not really where I expected to see him this evening. Say not sure, maybe some lingering damage that he opted not to use a fast repair on, but right now that car definitely not where it needs to be for him, as he's holding on to 13th right now. Still on lead lap though, but you can see Anders starting to kind of reel him in, starting to creep into that picture a little bit more. So we're going to keep an eye on this battle here for the 7th spot. Like I mentioned, I say Craig's holding on to it. Jim is trying to find a way to get around him to get that spot. Hasn't been able to get it done as of yet. But that being said, though, we're starting to slowly but surely, we're going to be creeping on that pit stop window. Say last pit on lap 22. We're on lap 58 now. So if we go with that 40 lap range, we should see them in just about, I would say, 4 to 5 laps most likely. The question will be kind of who's going to be the first to blink, because I feel like at this track, as difficult as it is to pass, I think, and the potentials of yellows, I think this is going to be a track where you're going to want to stay out as long as you possibly can. Even though lap time, there is decent lap time fall off, about a full second or so over the fastest lap to their current laps right now. So we'll have to see. So that could also put some strategy in for someone who maybe opts to maybe try some short pitting. So right now, Craig doing everything he had, doing a good job as well, holding off that number 51 car. I say a similar boat here for Jeff Heisong, doing everything he can to keep Matt Wagner in his mirror. Has been doing a really good job of it, holding on to that 5th position here in that 18 machine. I'm saying right now that gap is starting to shrink though for Anders Aarhus. You can see it's down to now just about a second right now. A little bit, some of that may have been Anders having to kind of take his time working through some lap traffic. But I think Andrew Wood also has just a lot of pace right now in that number 64 machine as well. So I say Anders won't be able to stay too comfortable here. He's going to have to start pushing the issue a little bit more, I think, to try to build that gap back over the 64. But say again, it's going to be tough here for Anders, because he's going to be coming up now on that number 89 of Nick DeGroot. We mentioned Nick's been part of 2 photo finishes here, so he's had 2 top 2 finishes, and again, he's also had his other finish was in the top 10 as well. So I'll say Nick is definitely one that usually we expect to see up front. So like I said, something something isn't clicking for him tonight really good. Maybe some damage that he has kind of just limping along, unfortunately. But right now, he's tailing the up. It looks like he's going to give Anders the top line here. So you can just see the respect that Nick is giving there for the leaders here, as he's going to go ahead and go 1 lap down now. But again, though, these last few laps, so Andrew is really starting to close that gap down to now about 0.8 of a second. Andrew is 0.3 faster that last time by. However, car quicker than both of them. That 5, Charles Teed. They were in the 24.4s, 24.10s. Charles Teed 23.96. So I think right now the only driver in the 23-second bracket these last couple of laps here. So I'd say Charles definitely putting the hammer down towards the end of this run before we hit our green flag pit stop window. Like I said, should be opening very, very shortly here. As I say, we've just now pretty much crossed that 40 lap mark since they last pitted under green. So we'll be seeing who's going to be the first to kind of make that gamble and hit pit road. Right now, pretty much everybody has yet to make their first stop. Green flag stop. Obviously, everybody has made one stop already this evening. Gary Corley, he did make a green flag pit stop a few laps earlier on lap 54, so he's a few laps off pace now just due to that pit strategy for him. So we'll have to see how maybe it gets a long-term gain from that. We'll have to kind of wait and see. But right now, these guys up front are definitely putting down some really fast lap times. Say Andrew really starting to kind of slowly but surely reel in that number 10 car. And as I said, here comes Andrew Wood. He's going to be the first to take the pit road strategy. He's going to short pit these guys by just a little bit, so this is going to be a really crucial moment for Andrew. Needs to get a good entry, needs to hit his pit stall, needs to have a good exit, and then even more critically, he needs this to stay green for his strategy to work here, because he does not want to get trapped a lap down, because right now, as he hits pit road, now hits a stall, here comes the 10 cars just now coming out of 4, and this will put him a lap down, so... we'll have to kind of wait and see. And unfortunately, you were right. Looks like Gary did retire. Apologies for that. I missed that from a little earlier. So yeah, thank you for that. Here comes another driver in the pits. It's going to be the 51, Jim Brooks. He's going to short pit a little bit as well in the 51. Andrew is back out on track, and really important for him, he's got some clean air as well in this car, just for a little bit at least. As I say that things starting to get a little busier here, and here comes pit road, definitely becoming a busy place, as here comes Anders Arhus. He's in pit road. I mentioned Jim Brooks, Nick DeGroot's in as well, so now it's going to cycle Charles Teed out to the front. So we'll see how far can Charles go further on this fuel strategy. And it looks like he's going to still have a little more in the tank, so that 5 cars was able to run some pretty good fuel numbers in this run here. And you see what's happening on the ticker on the left. You see so many cars now getting put a lap down just from the pit strategy, how fast the laps are here. Again, I mean, 23, 24-second lap times. So, I mean, if you're Charles Teed right now, you're rooting for a yellow here. You want to see a yellow come out, trap so many cars a lap down. Because right now you see there's only 7 cars here on the lead lap as things currently run. So I say if you caught a yellow, this would really trap a few cars a lap down. So right now Charles is, I think, hoping for that yellow. Right now it doesn't look like he's going to get in. Here he comes. He's going to hit pit road for his green flag pit stop. That will possibly cycle it over to Henry Bennett, who is going to stay out. No, here comes Henry Bennett. He's going to hit pit road as well, pitting at lap 71, which will now cycle it around to Jimmy Dryden, who does have some more fuel in that car. Looks like he's done a really good job of stretching the fuel tank out in that 99 machine, as now he's going to take the point here. So we'll keep an eye on Jimmy and see when he makes his pit stop if he's going to hit in this time or not. And he is not. He's making some really big fuel numbers in the 72 car. So say at this point he's last pitted again. I mentioned lap 22 is his pit stop. We're on lap 74 now. I'm almost wondering if Jimmy's going full fuel save, where maybe he could stretch this, because right now, say you see on the ticker here we've got 53 to go, coming to 52 to go. I don't know. This might be just in that one. I think he's actually run this car out of fuel possibly as he hits pit road. But we mentioned the short pit strategy from Andrew Wood. As I will cycle it over to him, because as you see here, he's actually cycling through now as our race leader. So he was able to leap that 10 of Anders Arhus through the pit stop strategy and get in a little bit earlier. And you see he's actually been able to stretch it out to about a 3-second lead here over that number 10 car. Right, and then it looks like once James Ledford, once he finishes his pit stop, so he's the last one I believe that's yet to pit. That's going to then cycle Charles Teed into that 3rd position in that number 5 machine. So yeah, so right now Andrew Wood kind of the winner on the pit stops, on the pit stop side of things, and I think just those couple laps of fresh tires are what really kind of helped jump him to the front there. However, it's not going to be easy now for Andrew. Look in front of him. This is not something you suspect or you expect to see. I'm sorry. Very often. That's going to be that 007 Henry Bennett. He is right now on the tail end of the lead lap, and Henry's going to want to hold on to this lead lap in case of that caution flag. Because let's say not too far behind him, you see there's Alec Coates, there's Jimmy Dryden. They're both on the lead. They're both one lap down, I should say. And they're going to be battling to be that car that's the lucky dog should a yellow come out. So Andrew might be in a little bit of a pickle here just with these guys. I think there's going to be some pretty aggressive driving for some of these drivers trying to find their way back into this, give themselves an opportunity to get back into the thick of things. So Right now, say Andrew Wood leading here as we just crossed the 50 to go mark, 49 to go here. And that's going to be the next question as well, is going to be who can stretch the fuel how far. We mentioned some of the drivers that went the longest on fuel was, I think, first off was Jimmy Dryden. He pitted on lap number 73 compared to some of the other drivers going about 66, 68. And then also James Ledford, he made it all the way to lap 74. So some of these drivers, you wonder, can they possibly stretch this thing to make it to the end from here or not? I'll say I think we have a couple different strategies here, and it seems like basically a pit stop is over a full lap distance. So while these guys might be a lap down right now, if they can work these fuel numbers the way they need to, they could still be in a really good position here. So I'll say now that pit stops are cycled through, let's go ahead and run through the field here. So our race leader right now is that number 64 of Andrew Wood. Behind him in second place is the 10 of Anders Arhus. In third position is the number 5 of Charles Teed. Started in the 9th position, up 6 spots to third. +9 right now for Matt Wagner. You see he's not too far away from that 5 car. He is up 9 spots into the 4th position. Rounding out our top 5 right now is Jeff Hysong in the 18 car. In 6th, not that far behind, Jim Brooks in the 51. 7th is Craig Forsyth in the number 27. 8th is Yari Buchhocker in the number 49 machine, +7 from his starting position. And Henry Bennett, you see right now, tail end of the lead lap is that 007 car in the 9th spot. And right now the first car, one down at the moment, is Alec Coates in that 3 in the 10th spot. 11th, Jimmy Dryden fighting to try to get that lucky dog position. He is there in the 11th. 12th is Benjamin Combs in the 77. And 13th is that number 89 of Nick DeGroot. 14th is James Ledford in the 48. Kind of wondering again, maybe trying to go for that stretch strategy, maybe try to run this thing out to the end here. We'll have to keep an eye on him. And 15th is the 61 of Kurt Rose. And 14th is the number 60 of Joseph Morales. Or, yes, sorry, 16th. And 17th, the 93 of Kevin DeBrown. So we saw, unfortunately for Kevin, had that incident. Didn't bring out the yellow, so unfortunately had to pit under green. So that's what put him down. Was in a good position other than that. 18th position, similar situation. Bud Steele caught the wall out of 2, had to limp that thing back to the pits. And then also used that fast repair and just never got that caution that he needed for his self. He's now, unfortunately, in 18th. And right now, the last car on track, we saw the contact between himself and the 00. And that's going to be Todd Merkel in the 19th position. Alright, so we'll jump back to our race leaders here. So right now, let's say Anders has about, or I'm sorry, Andrew has about a 2-second lead over Anders Arhus. Say Anders has been a little quicker the last couple laps, but you can see though he's got 3 lap cars between himself and the leader, and we know how much pace those guys have. And I think we just saw our first pit strategy here, and it's going to be Benjamin Combs here. He's going to be pitting once that window opened, as he pits here with 40 to go. So I think Benjamin here, he's going to pit backwards basically, opting to go ahead and make that final pit stop as soon as that window opens. So he's going to really need this thing to stay green for the strategy to work out for him. So I'll have to kind of keep an eye and see how that comes into play. And then behind Anders is the number 5 of Charles T. Looks like about 5 seconds or so between the two of them. And say right now for Charles, he's got about a 1.7 or so seconds over Matt Wagner. And then Matt Wagner, he's got a nice little gap between himself and Jeff Hysong. As you see, there goes that number 77, Benjamin Combs, just now leaving pit road. And that's going to put Benjamin 2 laps down. But again, though, he's good to go to the end now on fuel. So I don't suspect we'll see that 77 car back in the pits unless something happens, unfortunately, for him. And then mentioned before, Jeff Hysong, behind him is that 51 of Jim Brooks in 8th. About 2 seconds behind them. Right now, actually, one of our closest battles on track here is right now that number 49 Yari Brupacher and the 007 of Henry Bennett. I'll say these guys fighting for that 8th position right now. Right now Henry has it, Yari wants it, so we'll have to kind of see how this battle continues on, because they both pitted about a lap apart from one another. So right now pit strategy isn't too different for these guys, and you just kind of wonder, is there any sort of pit strategy that these guys can do to try to do something different, maybe go real aggressive fuel saving to make it to the end. Some of these guys I know are very good at fuel saving, others really do not enjoy fuel saving side of things with these cars. So what we'll do here, we're going to jump around, we're going to listen to these cars as they make some laps around here. So we're going to first start off with a 64, we're going to listen in and see, maybe we can hear if he's doing any aggressive fuel savings in this car. Alright, so Andrew, everything sounds pretty much normal to me on that car. I don't think there's any fuel savings going on for him. I'm going to jump over to Charles Teed. I want to listen in to Charles. He's one of the drivers up front. He pitted the latest out of everybody. We're going to listen in on with him. And I say same thing for me on him. Everything sounds pretty normal for me on that car as well, as we've got 34 laps to go. Now let's go a little bit more aggressive. Let's go to Jimmy Dryden here. Let's listen in with that number 99 car, see if he's doing anything aggressive, maybe any clutching, anything like that. So you don't hear him clutching him, but you see how he's staying in fourth gear. He's running really long gears, and I also think he's just trying to roll it into the turns, not braking, just kind of letting the car just kind of drive and roll through the turns here. So I think Jimmy's one of those. He pitted on lap 73. About 7 laps later than Andrew Wood, so I think this might be one of the first drivers here that's really trying to stretch the field numbers in this 99 car. As you can see, here comes that 10 of Anuzar, who's going to try to see if he can get around him to get that position, get himself one car closer to that number 64 of Andrew Wood. But you can see just that's right now the difficulty is they just working through traffic. He's having a pretty difficult time working around these guys here, with everybody also, unfortunately, on very, very different fuel strategies, and I think a lot of different thoughts of how this race is going to play out. And I'm also thinking the same thing for Henry Bennett here. I think Henry might have something up his sleeve as well. So I don't think this is all pace on this number 007 car. So let's listen in to Henry. Let's listen in as he hits turn number 3. Yeah, I think Henry's also on the fuel save strategy as well in this number 007. So I think he's trying to do what he can to maybe save that last pit stop. So this is going to be a tough balance for Henry as well, because right now he's on the tail on the lead lap, but then also trying to save fuel, but also not get lapped as well. But now as I say that, here comes Craig Forsyth. He just gets around him. So it makes me wonder if Craig's saving even more aggressively, as here comes Jim Brooks. He's not doing any pit strategy. On the fuel saving side of things, he's just going to be pitting here as they come to 29 laps to go in this event. So I'll say right now the two that have pitted here to make it to the end are Benjamin Combs and now Jim Brooks in the 51 car. And yeah, the lap times have really dropped off the last handful of laps here. So I think we're seeing, again, another potential fuel mileage race in these guys. So right now you just have to wonder kind of who is doing what on the strategy right now. I don't think Andrew Wood is saving fuel. But I do suspect that I see Craig Forsyth, Henry Bennett, Jimmy Dryden. I think these guys are on a fuel save strategy with the way they're running right now. And as I said, here comes Anders Arhus. He's going to split this run in half. He's going to pit now here at lap number 99, coming to basically 25 to go just about. So he's going to make his final pit stop here. And again, this is going to be where this thing just needs to stay green for these guys. But what this does do is this gives now Andrew Wood a huge margin around the other guys. But as I said, Andrew's going to react to this. He's going to hit pit road here as well. I think he saw what he was getting slowed up in traffic. He decided that, all right, I got to get out of this, because if I don't, then I'm going to get psyched. I'm going to get jumped around by the 10 car. So that's going to now bump Charles Teed. He's going to take the point now in the 5. Matt Wagner is going to jump to second now. As we're going to be coming across here. Next time by is going to be 25 to go. As you see, Charles Teed's going to come out right next to that number 10 of Anders Arhus. So this is definitely a position Anders is going to want to try to see if he can get around quickly to give himself some opportunity to try to chase down Andrew Wood. But I think at this point you see Andrew Wood already rolling out of pit road. So we'll see how they cycle out with one another. And there does go the 10 car. So as they come out of turn number 2, it is going to be Charles Teed leading the way in the 5 car, with Anders Arhus right now on the tail end of the lead lap, but he's still unfortunately about 5 seconds off of that number 64 of Andrew Wood. And here comes Jeff Heisong. He hits pit road now with 24 to go. So let's say right now I think right now it's just kind of who's going to be the last to blink. Can anyone make it? Because as crazy as he was, we just talked about Henry Bennett being the last car in the lead lap, right in kind of contention of getting lapped. Here he is now in third position, 13 seconds off the lead. But with all the fuel he's saving here, he's only 4 seconds in front of Andrew Wood here. So, I mean, for Andrew right now, he's just got to really make hay here. He's got to make some really quick lap times because he stayed on the lead lap. So right now you kind of got two races going on here. You've got drivers that are really pushing hard, and you've got drivers really saving here to try to make it to the end. So this is where things can really kind of come to a T. But right now, Andrew Wood, he is definitely making some moves right now. Last time by was about a full second quicker than our race leader. And with all that's been happening, that's actually allowed now Matt Wagner. He's going to take the point. So based on this, I'm going to say Charles Teed, he's now changed his fuel strategy. He's going to try to make this thing to the end. And I don't know if Matt Wagner has enough to make it all the way or not. So I think Matt Wagner is just going to start basically trying to put some big laps down and build that gap up. So this is going to be very intriguing here. We got a lot of different pit strategies. The one thing, if Charles can run this numbers and get to the end on fuel, as you can see, he is way slowing down now, really trying to save fuel here as we got 21 to go. But if he's having to save this much fuel, by the time Andrew gets, Andrew's going to get back to him because he's only got about, it looks like about 10, 11 seconds over Andrew Wood here. And again, Andrew Wood, he's just making big lap times right now, running in the, actually last time I ran the fastest lap of the race, 23:03. Or sorry, his fastest lap of the race, 23:03. So yeah, he's leaving nothing to caution right now. He's just going for everything he can. And surprisingly, actually, here comes Benjamin Combs again in the pits. Unfortunately, whatever that strategy was, something may have happened to force him back into pit road. And you can see already Matt Wagner pulling a 3-second gap over Charles Teed. So at this point, we know Charles Teed, he's on full fuel save in that 5 car. Andrew Wood now, he's now back up into that 3rd position. And he's just right now, he's just got the foot to the floor here, making big time. Running about 2 seconds a lap quicker than Charles Teed, about a second quicker than Matt Wagner. And you see he's already passed all these guys that are trying to do that fuel save strategy. So this is one of those few times where it seems like the aggressive strategy is actually working very well here for that 64 as things run at the moment. So what I'm going to try to do is we're going to look through our pit strategy here and kind of see where everybody is at. So you see Matt Wagner last pitted on lap number 70. Andrew Wood last pitted on 99. Anders Arhus lap 98. So that's exactly what I'm talking about right there. So basically all those guys that don't have that 3rd number in line there, they're still on their 2nd stop and they're stretching this fuel mileage, either trying to make it to the end or just running it as far as they humanly can before they have to make a splash at the very end. But like I said, though, that gap between the 5 and the 64, it's almost for naught right now because, he's now within just a couple of seconds because as you see, he comes out of turn number 4 here. But you look out the back there, and that is that number 64 of Andrew Wood. And I think, unfortunately, for my opinion right now, Charles is just having to save too much fuel. I think he needed to have committed earlier to the strategy that we saw Andrew and Anders do, because that's definitely working well for them. So you see Charles Teed here's probably next lap or so is going to get past, or I should say next turn or so, looks like he's going to get past here by that number 64. The only other option would maybe be if he tries to save a bunch where he can really push aggressively, but you can see that's not going to be the case. At this point, he's just pretty much coasting there to try to make this thing to the end. As here's Matt Wagner again. Matt's now got about a 6-second lead over Andrew Wood, but I do not suspect Matt's going to be able to make it all the way to the end. I think he's starting to drop his pace as well. Henry Bennett still solidly in the 4th spot. Anders Arhus, we know he can go to the end. He is sitting in 5th. So I think we will be able to see Anders. I think he can work his way back up into the top 3 here. He's just got to keep doing what he's doing, be careful, and make big smart moves here as he works his way through traffic, because he's only about 2 seconds away from Henry Bennett there. And I feel like Henry's still going to have to save fuel, as well as Jimmy Dryden. He just hit pit road as well in the 99. Craig Forsyth's hit pit road, as I think these guys basically try to run their fuel out as far as they can, and unfortunately just didn't get the caution that they may have been hoping for. You see Matt Wagner right now starting to close down on the 18, I believe that is, of Jeff Hysong. And then that's going to put, basically try to get 7th place lap down. Here's Jim Brooks as well. Jim, he can make it to the end. He made his final stop as well. As I say, see, he's right now, at the moment, the first car lap down. But as I say that, though, he's got a couple cars working around him, but I believe they're all on fresher tires. So I'll say right now, Jim's still sitting in a pretty good spot. Some of these guys behind him, like Nick DeGroot there, I say some of these guys are about 2 laps down as they run at the moment. And I say here's Charles Teed. Unfortunately, he's already given up more spots, unfortunately, to the 007 and the 10. So yeah, so unfortunately for Charles, the strategy saving is just not working for him, and his Anders now just gets around the 007 Henry Bennett, and that does move Anders back up into the 3rd position. Unfortunately, though, a huge gap behind behind Andrew Wood, who's starting to reel in that number 11 of Matt Wagner. As we got 10 to go here, we're going to cross the line here. It's going to be 9 laps remaining. And I think we're going to see Matt Wagner most likely have to make a late splash of fuel stop in that 11 car. As let's say we're now in single digits to the end. And say right now Jim Brooks trying to fight to stay that first car on the 1 lap down. Probably actually wants to be the first car, or tail end of the lead lap, I should say. But right now, say he hasn't been able to get to that position as of yet. However, Andrew Wood is starting to slowly but surely, you can see now he's in that picture on the same straight, only about 1.5 seconds between them. And I just don't know if Matt's going to have enough here to make it to the end, because he put a lap earlier than Henry and Charles. So he's going to have to save even an extra lap over those guys behind him. And as I say, though, Matt's going to try to make... Oh, he's going to hit the pit cone. That's going to be a penalty for Matt on the pit entry. Unfortunately, tried to get an aggressive entry. Didn't pan out for him. So unfortunately, that's going to really put Matt in a bad spot here, because that stop and hold is going to put him numerous laps down, as that's going to now cycle Andrew Wood back to the point. Anders Arhus is 2nd, however, is about, again, 7.5 seconds back. Henry Bennett, though, he is still holding on to 3rd. He is going for that long fuel strategy, as is the 5 of Charles Teed. I say Charles right now in 4th position. He's got some drivers, again, trying to make some passes. I'm trying to get around him. Say next up on his list is going to be Jeff Hysong to try to keep behind him. Jeff has also made his final pit stop of the race, so he has no fuel savings to worry about. As Andrew Wood crossed the line, we got 6 to go there. Going to be coming around to 5 to go here shortly. You see next up for Jim Brooks is going to be to try to catch Charles Teed. But yeah, I mean, this race is really strung out as everything's been going on. As you can see, actually, Andrew Wood right behind the 51 of Jim Brooks. And I say both of these guys can make it to the end and fuel. Just everybody's on slightly different pit strategies at the moment here. So as they come through 4 here, we're going to cross the line. We got 4 more to go. As you can see, Alec Coates, he makes a late pit stop in that 3 car. He hits pit lane. And you can see these guys both about to catch that number 5 of Charles Teed. And unfortunately for Charles, I think the better approach for him would have been to be real aggressive and just make the pit stop and just drive that thing like it was qualifying laps, because I think at this point he's actually lost more than he's gained, unfortunately. But it's a tough decision to make, and sometimes sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, and unfortunately in this case it did not pan out for him. As we just cross line 3 to go here at New Hampshire. Still Andrew Wood leading Anders Arhus here in 2nd. And Henry Bennett still holding on strong here. It's that solid 3rd position. We weren't sure how that was going to work out for Henry. I was a little nervous about it, but it looks like he's done really one of the best jobs of saving fuel here towards the end of this run. As now Andrew Wood's going to cross the line here, 2 to go. So let's hop on board. Let's take this 2 to go here. We'll hop on board with that number 64 of Andrew Wood. See, Andrew crosses the line. He's going to get the white flag, so 1 to go here at New Hampshire. I say at this point, I mean, Andrew, he can just kind of cruise here, and he'll make it to the end, and he'll be able to hold on to this win as long as nothing bad happens in front of him, which, I mean, he can't count on his chickens yet, because there's a lot of traffic in front of him. And as I said, we got contact in front of him there. You see the smoke up front. Oh, it's the 99 Jimmy Dryden up against the wall. You see Matt Wagner as well, slow, but it's going to be Andrew who's going to get the win here at New Hampshire. Out of 4 is going to be Anders Arhus. He's going to grab the 2nd position. And then coming home in the third position is going to be last week's winner, Henry Bennett, in that 007 machine, able to stretch the fuel and get that third position tonight. And then our last car on the lead lap is going to be the 18 of Jeff Heisong. He is going to finish in fourth. I felt like it wasn't going to be a fuel mileage wasn't going to play into it. Everybody would be able to make it to the end on just the normal two-stop strategy. And these guys once again proved me wrong. Fuel mileage come into play, but when it's all said and done, it's going to be Andrew Wood getting the win tonight. Andrew's going to park it up against the inside wall. He's going to celebrate up against the inside wall here. And Andrew Wood getting the win here tonight at New Hampshire. 125 laps. I believe just the one caution, if I'm not mistaken. And just the timing of that caution really shook things up a little bit. But Andrew Wood's going to be a very happy driver. And we're going to go and we're going to find those drivers here. Let's go have a word. He's going to find his way through the road course as well. Let's go find our drivers here. Let's have a word with them. And let's get our top three here. All right, trying to hunt Henry down. Haven't found him as of yet. So we're going to start things off actually with our pole sitter. So let's bring in the number 10 of Anders Arhus, pole sitter this evening. Finishes in the second spot. So Anders, kind of a crazy race. I'd say everything was looking great for you early on. And then just that one caution that came out kind of around in the middle of the pit, not quite the pit cycle, but really changed the strategy of the race, where we saw some drivers kind of go full fuel save. You and Andrew, though, you guys kind of just kept the pedal to the metal and ran that thing to the end. Did you have any thoughts of trying to go fuel save, or did you feel like your best shot to get your best finish was just going to be to stay aggressive throughout that run? Yeah, I think you nailed it right there. Was just the traffic and just, of course, the difficulty of passing. Obviously, you and Andrew definitely looked like you guys had the pace on the field tonight. But yeah, like I said, it once Andrew's kind of able to kind of bring that gap in a little bit on you, and then made that strategy call to kind of undercut you by those couple laps, and it seemed like that was really what did it there. And of course, just depending on where you got out on track as well. If you kind of jump out on traffic, even with the brand new tires. It wasn't just a done deal to make those passes happen. It was really tough to make those moves happen. Was there anything that you felt like you could have done? Did you have to make any adjustments in the car to get it to do what you wanted to, or did you kind of just run it as it came out of the box tonight?
This race was, last year it was like very straightforward, take the setup and just try to run it as is. This year I'm trying to get better at understanding, when and how to adjust the roll bar. It's a pretty decent understanding of the weight jacker, but kind of using all of that in conjunction. And, I was fortunate to get a little bit of practice with some guys yesterday running in traffic, and then before the race today in the practice session. So I felt like I actually had a really good plan and understanding of what I wanted to do when I got up behind cars and there was a lot of dirty air. So yeah, I was making a ton of adjustments on the wheel the whole way through. That was part of why it was so fun. It was like trying to basically problem solve every car you came up to. It was like, okay, what do I adjust now? What's the car doing, and how do I try to correct that to get by? So yeah, look, I mean, like you said, the traffic was tough. I don't think anyone did anything wrong. I thought everybody was actually really great, but it was tough to cut through that. But it was a great experience to understand, how to clear those cars. And you're talking about Andrew getting the undercut, and we're discussing that. I think there was a point where I was considering, okay, do I pit here because I was kind of stuck in lap traffic? I think, I'll look back at the replay, but I think off the top of my head right now, that's probably what I should have done, is pitted maybe 4 or 5 laps earlier to get myself out of that traffic, and that would have given me the best chance. But hey, all learning experience. So yeah, it was a fun race. I'm really happy. It's I had to miss the first 2 rounds, so this has been a nice way to kind of get back on track.
Yeah, I was saying 2 pole positions in a row as well. So I say definitely starting the season off nice here. I say that you've been able to, the races you've been able to make, you say you've definitely been making the most of them. And yeah, I mean, like I said, it was definitely a challenging one for a lot of drivers, it seemed like tonight. As I know you definitely saw on YouTube, it sounded like Team Anders was watching as well. So definitely want to give you the floor for that run tonight with that second place finish. Any thanks and shouts you'd like to give for that result this evening?
Yeah, absolutely. To my girlfriend, who always watches all my races, to my parents, and to my girlfriend's mom, and anybody else that I don't know that was out there watching. But that's kind of the core group. I really appreciate that they do this kind of a family thing. So yeah, it was great, and I appreciate their support. It makes it a lot more fun, honestly, to do this.
Yeah, it's always fun when you have friends and family behind you, backing you and supporting you. So yeah, just great job tonight, Anders. I say you definitely looked like you were one of the ones to beat tonight. So it just looked like traffic may have kind of put you in a little bit of a deficit there, but still, I mean, it was well earned, and saying really good job fighting through the field there with everybody on those different strategies to work your way back up into second.
Hey, thank you. Congrats to Andrew, and hopefully we'll talk again next week.
All right, that is the number 10 of Anders Zar, who's our pole sitter tonight, second place finisher this evening. So unfortunately, haven't been able to hunt down Henry Bennett, so I say we won't be able to get a chat with him. So he did have a great third place finish this evening. So now we got to jump over to the number 64 of Andrew Wood. So let's go ahead and pull him on in here and get a chat with him. All right, Andrew. So you rolled in here kind of late in the season, but so you kind of went after it right off the bat, and just awesome job tonight. So you definitely had a really good long run pace. So we're kind of noticing you were starting to reel in Anders kind of during the first green flag run, and then that second run, of course, when we kind of went green the rest of the way there, that just saw the gap slowly but surely shrinking, and then we saw that big mix of strategy. I mean, how nerve-wracking was it for you to try to kind of balance, okay, do I push and just do the extra stop, or do I just go full save to the end? Because I mean, we saw a lot of different strategies on that front, and for one of the rare times where it seemed like that 2-stopper, actually that pace you guys had, it made a really big difference tonight.
Yeah, it was interesting for sure. First of all, I rolled up here not expecting really much tonight. I'm new to the league, so I just kind of run and do my best kind of race I can, but just realized that it was New Hampshire tonight, and short tracks tend to be my strong point here. And once I realized the kind of pace I had, I was actually wondering if I could contend for a podium or even a win. So this whole thing was very surprising to me. For the strategy, it was just kind of on the cuff. Of course, you want to stay out as long as you can and not get caught out by a yellow. But the way that it worked out for me, I saw a good opportunity with the way that traffic was hitting us and stuff like that I can get a good advantage if I pit when I did. I just thought about to pit exactly at the last second there. So there was no real planned strategy. It was just kind of getting a gauge of what was going on around, and it seemed to work out.
Yeah, so I mean, it definitely worked, and like you said, that strategy, you were on top of it there. It's like getting that undercut on Anders. By saying, I mean, obviously though, you had the pace to get there in the first place. I mean, just great job. Obviously, great job working through the field throughout the run as well. What kind of adjustments were you having to make through the run, or was it kind of just in clean air? It was one thing, and then in traffic, did you have to do something else, or was there any adjustments you had to make kind of on the fly during the race itself?
Yeah, I definitely during practice I was playing around with some good clean air tool usage versus what I was doing in heavy traffic, and I was not really so confident about it going into the race. But when I actually was on the track, all my changes seemed to work out perfectly. Like everything I did was the right change, the right direction. But honestly, the way that short tracks are here, it's all about your right foot. It's patience. It's trying to get the optimal line, seeing what the clean air is ahead of you, and optimizing from there, and just trusting that your car is going to come out the other side the way that it should. I actually did have one bump on the wall right before my second pit stop. That's actually what prompted my second pit stop, and I was going to use try and think they could repair the car there. But it actually didn't seem like too much damage, but I thought that it just all kind of worked out for me. But yeah, definitely got to play around with the tools and find what works best for you.
Yeah, so you definitely made all the right adjustments, it sounds like, tonight to pull off the win. And like I said, I mean, sometimes force strategy winds up working as better than you would think it does. So yeah, just awesome job tonight. Say based on our little highlight up here, it says say that you're based out of New England. So say would this be your home track as well?
Yeah, I guess you could say that. I live in Connecticut. I went to the one IndyCar real life race here back in 2011, so it's not too far away. So yeah, we'll call it my home track.
All right, well, say awesome job. Before we let you go, and of course, before I let you give you shout-outs, so I have one very important question. That's going to be, what kind of finished wood are you using on that car and on your helmet? Because those are some pretty nice-looking colors on there.
That's a secret. I can't give that away, unfortunately.
All right, so that's going to be the Andrew Wood special wood finish that's able to get him to victory lane tonight here at New Hampshire. But yeah, Andrew, just awesome job. But before we let you go, of course, definitely want to give you the floor. Any thanks and shouts you'd like to give for that win this evening?
Yeah, I just want to shout out everyone who puts this lead together. So far, from from the limited time that I've been here, it's been kind of cool just to see some different names and race some different people. So that's been pretty cool. And thanks for the broadcast, which I'll enjoy watching at some point. And we'll see what happens for next time.
So I enjoyed, Andrew. Great win. Yeah, I look forward to seeing you the remainder of the season. So yeah, enjoy this one, and we'll catch you next week, sir.
See you then.
All right, that is our race winner in that number 64, Andrew Wood, getting the win this evening. So I'll say we'll go ahead and pull up our final results for tonight. So you see Andrew Wood getting the win by just under 6 seconds over Andrzar, who's Henry Bennett used the fuel strategy savings to his advantage. He's going to bring it home in third. Say the first of those is able to stretch that fuel mileage out. Jeff Heisong able to recover and grab up to that fourth position. Jim Brooks rounds out our top 5. And then 6th through 10th, you've got Yari Brupacher, Charles Teed, Nick DeGroot, Craig Forsyth, James Ledford. 11th on back, you've got Alec Coates. Kevin DeBrown, somehow, even without those yellows, was able to work himself back up into that 12th position. Bud Steele on 13th, same thing for him there. So way to stick it out, guys. I'll say that's well earned to get those 12 and 13 positions. Not what they wanted, I'm sure, but still well earned result for those guys. And then you got Kurt Rose 14th, Jimmy Dryden unfortunately in the 15th position. 16th, Joseph Morales. Matt Wagner, that pit penalty really hurt him. Drops him all the way down to 17th. Benjamin Combs in the 18th position. And then 19th through 22nd there, you've got Todd Merkel. Unfortunately, had the contact earlier. That set him back. Gary Corley retired early. And unfortunately, Don Merkel Jr. just wrong place, wrong time. Got that contact that put him out in 21st. And you see Chris Jabot in the 22nd position. So again, want to congratulate Andrew Wood on the win. Say Henry still has family over, so unfortunately are not able to get an interview with him, but we'll definitely try to pull him up in the future when we can. I have a sinking feeling we'll have some more opportunities to have some chats with Henry, just with his overall pace. So until then, hope you all enjoyed it. Steve, I missed you. Look forward to catching you again on track, hopefully sooner than later. Hope you guys enjoyed the race this evening. Again, and say you always can find us here on YouTube with Green White Checker TV. The other options, of course, again, with our partnership with Dark Horse, is you can also find us on ESTV on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. So hope you all had a wonderful night. Hope you enjoyed it. And we'll be back on Thursday for the premiere series. So until then, have a wonderful evening, and I'll catch you next time. Have a good night, everyone.